Wait, can I keep that so we can.
You can sit on my seat, it's fine. I'm gonna stand.
Should we let people know there's pizza and maybe we should distribute those before we go into Alpha?
Sure. All right. Hello, everyone. We got pizza over here. Feel free to grab it. If you're hungry now, or during any presentation. If you hate one presentation, just get up and get it. No, I'm kidding. But anyways, there should be veggie and also pepperoni options. So if you're vegetarian, I got you. All right. We should probably get started.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Spring 2023 Alpha presentation.
Yeah.
That slide shouldn't be there. Checkpoint Alpha is for basically seeing how you're all doing after 1 month. And yeah, but what's on the radar for the future, you might ask? Well, tonight we're thinking of having a game night app.
Or go to Like, which is the local gallery crawl that happens almost every first week of the month. And it's run by Polo and it has a series of cool games that he curates with like other artists and stuff, which is pretty cool. But it's kind of bad weather today, so we'll see how the app is like on that.
And then after spring break at some point, we're thinking of having some like GCS, like TED Talks or like GDC talks where people will get to give like a short presentation on something in like making games. I think like Thomas mentioned that he would like to talk about like networking or something. And I know I have a few topics that I would love to talk about too. So if you're interested, just let me know.
Shoot him with Dom the bomb on Discord.
And now, without further ado, drum roll please. See some progress.
Yeah.
Here's Super Flytrap Adventures. Yeah.
Thank you. Are you?
It was horizontal.
Why would you punch?
Oh.
Like AAA Studios. If you do it fast, when it loads, it's like choose a map.
Oh, Laura, what are you guys doing? Why? Why are you? Oh,
we need to play Saber.
I would have.
Yeah. Present, we probably have 16% and no, we probably have 16%. And no, you mean that's it?
I can't imagine
it's okay. We did fine. We did. Every question.
Just love the game outside. One person might just be perfect.
Oh, I see. So it's not like a mutual.
We have a quarter.
All right, we're getting started now. Hello, everybody. We are Super Flash Up Adventures. We have a mascot now. This is the mascot. Why are you asking? So yeah, we've been working on the game. We made some art, made some new tile sets, backgrounds made by Simon. We also made some new pixel art of sprites with beads and hanging flower pots, among other things.
We've made a soundtrack for like the first house level. You can just imagine it. You have to get around it.
Oh, let's just do this. So it's like you can see the trail. Yeah. So you hear it from my laptop instead.
Okay. So it's like this little greenhouse. Your Chelsea, just wandering around without a care in the world, eating. Oh. That's
Okay, and then we've done some level design. So the first level is going to be a greenhouse, right? So when you think of greenhouse, you think light and windows and a lot of like hanging lamps. So we're gonna have a lot of like puzzle with light. Also, you think weed killers, so we're gonna have sections where they're gonna be like killing some, and then also a hanging plant section, which is gonna be cool. Fine traffic and I'll explain other, and yeah. Oh, also fat caterpillar that's gonna like be sleeping on a platform, and then the fly trap is gonna like bark off stuff to make it move.
Yes, we've also made a lot of improvements to our main player controller. So you can see before and after. On the left, this is before. See, you go one thing and it just swings everywhere. On the right, you can see you go and it snaps right back in place. Very easy. Yeah, so we use PID control. If you're a Mechie, you probably know what that is. And yeah, this is how I actually used it in the game.
Okay, so we've been working on some new features as well. For example, there's a flying bird. If you look closely, it's Flappy Bird pixel art, but that is going to change. Basically, once you bite onto it, there's like a preset path that the bird goes on, so it can bring you to new locations. There's also a crank platform for like, that's this one, where you stand on a platform, and then there's kind of like a handle that you grab onto, and once you crank it, the platform moves again on a preset path. There's a blinds puller, which is just, yeah, it's that one where, wait, actually, I'm not sure which one it is, but basically, okay, cool. So you pull on this thing, and then it uncovers light, and then stuff might grow under the light. For example, like sharp stuff or just friendly plants, maybe to be determined. I'm gonna talk about this one. Okay. Anyways, also regurgitating NPCs, which is basically like kind of like the bird, except you can swallow it, and then you can barf it back up whenever you want using the space bar. Okay, don't hand it over to Doc.
Okay, yeah. To me, yeah. When hanging pots, you can swing on pots. Also, we have a net now. During pitch, we did not have a net. Now we have a net. It looks actually really good. Also, swinging. So now, yeah, when you like clamp onto something, if you move your mouse like away, you can swing the flower pot, which allows you to swing back and forth and reach areas. Now we have our demo, and we're going to use WebGL because WebGL is pretty cool. Now wait for it to load. It should not take that long. Okay. So yes, this is our alpha demo. You start here, you have a fly, eat the fly. Then you go swing up here. And you have those hanging flower pots. And see right now I'm swinging back and forth. So you just want to reach the other ones. And you made it. Whoa, whoa. And this this is our Flappy Bird. It's kind of messed up by the. So yeah, you grab onto the Flappy Bird, and it keeps flying away, flying away. Then you reach the crank platform. Go in there, and you start moving the crank. And then you move it. And you go down here. And these things you can't go onto here, so right now this is one way. And again, you can't go over here. So what do? Grab onto these things instead. Not sure what they're supposed to be, they're just designed. Then you want to like make it right up here, so you swing, swing, swing all the way there. And now you see, you want to like get this up here, but you can't throw it because it's too far. So instead, you eat it. Now it's in your stomach. And let's see if I can swing this right. Yeah. Now you have to play some basketball and score a goal in there. So, funny glitch, yeah. Imagine that, yeah.
It's alpha, it's okay.
It's alpha, yeah. Finally, you grab this line puller and look, the end. So yeah, that is what we've done for alpha. For beta, our main goal is to build level 1 because we have art and we have a bunch of really cool ideas for level 1, but we don't have that implemented. So all those ideas, we are going to build a solid level by then. Also adding some UI, but now it's no UI at all, be bare bones. So we want to get that done. So, thank you. Okay.
I can't. Is there no?
Yeah.
I hear something.
It's working.
It works, but I want to like. Alright. Hello, we are Project Forest. Some of our member has chosen to remain seated. That is okay. So basically, since the pitch, we have spent a little bit of time doing pre-production APA, figuring out the small world building. We've done a little bit of enemy modeling and animation, some AI. We have added destructive armor, which we'll get to later. And then we have some code logic and more cool robot visual things and music. Let's just start with a little bit on the world building. If you recall what our game was, it's a VR fighting game, and it's set in the desert. So once we started, we're like, oh, actually, there's so many kinds of deserts, so we don't know what kind of desert we want. But we have basically settled on that we are gonna be in a crystal desert, which is a desert, but it has crystals. We have some pretty cool concept art drawn out by Isabel. Do you want to talk about them? If you don't want, that's okay.
Yeah, I'll just talk about them briefly. I'll just say here, hello. Should I go up? I'll just go up. I forgot. Okay, so yeah, it was just like some brief art ideas as to like what might be like some crystal or like rock like formations. I was thinking instead of like your generic like, oh, that is a crystal shape, it'd be something that's a little more curved based off like maybe some place with higher wind or something. That was just kind of the idea behind it.
Yeah, I kind of made rocks. is a part of it, technically, yes. And we have Andy, who might want to talk more about each one of his classic art.
Very brief concept for crystal, desert, canyon, wolf, light. Big rock pillars. Thank you.
Well, Courtney is here, but we have a brand new enemy, courtesy of Courtney, which is a desert coyote. And it looks super cool. I should also know that, if Courtney was here, Courtney would be like, this is not the final design, I'm still working on it. But it's already really cool. We have some lock animations. Oh, you sent another one, but I forgot to put it in, but there we go. This is how it looks like. Yeah, and Andrew has put in these, oh, you can see a little more of the animations here. Andrew, do you want to talk about?
Yeah, we have like a basic, I guess, like layout of the boss AI, so it can go to where the player is and like stalk a little bit, and then when it's ready to attack, it jumps in, it'll do a couple attacks, then jump out. It doesn't actually attack right now because we didn't have those animations, but like it's printing things in the top left, which means like it would.
Matters. And we have, basically we wanted also, so our viewer character is one that wields a sword, but because you're also a cyborg, we're trying to think about how you can combine the sword with the body itself. So kind of some cool experimentations with like animations of how the sword can sort of work in conjunction with the body. For your right hand side, you see it's kind of like it's folded onto your forearm and it kind of pops out. And on the other one, this is kind of like, I guess your entire forearm rotates inside out and the sword comes out. The best way to describe it. Both are super cool. And we have cool robot visual things. They're kind of bunched together, which involves UI and construction, but I'll let Matthew start.
Yeah, so my big thing about this game is like I want to sell a fantasy. You are killer robot. So what should killer robot see? Killer robot things. So, there should be some weak points you can attack and that the robots should have, like you'll see it via this screen space UI component. So like here we have our inspiration, Metal Gear Rising Vengeance, and you can attack this guy's we want to do that in VR.
I think it's actually sorry. But
Sure. This is the first iteration of the UI scanning idea where you have the base texture and then you also have the overlay, which is the blue lines you see. Also, do we have a separate version or should I just talk about destructible ones?
sorry, there was.
Okay, sure. You can also see at one point the owl will have a hat on top of it and it pulls up with chaos and it's
Yeah, we're thinking about having sort of armor pieces that is attached to the enemy, and you can kind of like rip them off. I don't know, your
Yeah.
magnetic
So like
pulse or something.
what I was thinking about this is basically you're fighting this enemy, so you're like hacking it apart, and then it's like, oh no, I am critical, and then like there are sparks coming out, like then you could go and like rip them apart, and then they would explode or something. Right. This is something else I was thinking about. So like, there's a movie. Yeah. So there's like RoboCop, Terminator. They're like all like kind of like VHS, like old style like monitors. So I was like, what if we do that but in VR? Mistake. Turns out that having VHS like resolution, so like it's kind of bad resolution due to colors being shifted around like this. It doesn't work in VR because your resolution is already pretty bad, so it's not noticeable. And the parts that are noticeable cause motion sickness. Like, like this is kind of motion sickness inducing. I mean, it could be worse, but if we do this just a little bit, it's okay. If you prolong this for like several seconds, vomit. So
It's like when you get hit, maybe it'll work.
yeah, you're supposed to like get juddered when you
Then
get
you'll physically feel like that thing.
yeah.
Oh, so good.
That's what happens when you get hit in real life.
We have sort of, we're still trying to like nail them down. So we had this initial like idle track, which was meant to be kind of like the desert. I don't know, you don't know there's a fight yet. Very nice. I don't know if I should play the whole thing because it's a mini. But I played till like maybe.
Like the scene we were thinking about, like, you know, for that.
This time limit will not show the whole thing, and now we have a very cool battle track that's too long. I'm gonna skip it a little bit because I think the intro is really long. Skip 10 seconds of the intro. It's upset. 50 idea. So it's very much inspired by like 70s and very like 60s. So attack logic doesn't work yet. We made a working version. We tested it. It doesn't work in VR even if it works in regular editor. So hopefully soon. Next steps. So to make the attack logic work, have actual more UIs that are I guess more gameplay specific, basically the Metal Gear stuff we talked about. And hopefully that beta will succeed. That's it. That's perfect.
Who's next? I forgot. I'll try to unforgot.
For your chaos destruction, did you get a road where like a geometry function to the road?
No, I stopped my.
Put those fields down. Yeah. That's all we need. You can't attach it. This is from. I replaced some geometry. Yeah. Sucks that you can't. And because it's like. The attach like that's. Yeah. Like we had a working brand. I have to replace that.
What if, how do you detect the switch? Like, I have to replace that.
There's a.
Chaos, the geometry collection has complex damage. Yeah. So ideally, you want to use that, but I don't replicate that. Regular attachment.
Yeah.
So
this is our trial alpha presentation. I got baited by my team. They said only team leads attend alpha, so I'm going here anyway. Okay, so we fleshed out all of our character concepts. So before we were missing a hacker healer type, and now thanks to Wesley, we have a healer concept. We also have models for all of our characters. I think support is still in the works right now, but we're nearing completion. The other three are already in the game, as I'll get to. Here's like a showcase of our animations for each character, as well as kind of like their playstyle. For the Berserker, it's heavy DPS, so we want like some kind of gap closer so you can get close to the Kraken easily. And then some like basic defensive maneuvers. You want to get rewarded for proximity to the boss. For the tank, primarily you're supporting the team by preventing them from taking damage. In case of like whatever we design as like large AoE auto attacks that you cannot easily dodge out of the way of. So the tank's abilities are all shield oriented, And ideally with like some of these, with the tank, the support, and later like the healer, all these characters have kind of like a benefit where the team is put together. So when you're playing the game, you want to stay near your allies to take that benefit. With the support, we're hoping to add some complexity to the game by giving like elemental AoE buffs, as well as providing mobility. So the support is the primary way for the team to like travel across the map faster. Otherwise, like other characters, they don't really have much mobility when it comes to like moving from one side of the arena to the other. Finally, the healer. Main idea is to keep the team alive, but also we came up with like an interesting signature ability, which is that if instead of like just having a basic AoE heal, we have something where it's like you stun the target and both you and the target will be healed. So that can hopefully result in more interesting gameplay or maybe like just funny occurrences. Here's some lore that Swapno gave us. So we have Project K, which is the bioweapon, also known as our Kraken boss, and it takes place in the trial world where our game is essentially just publicly broadcasted, and it acts as kind of like an entertainment for the masses, 1984 style, keeping people placated so they don't question the government. Also concept art by Sarah and some of our friends in Cali. Here's the Kraken, modeled by Kai. Also, I think Audrey contributed to it. Basically, with the team gameplay idea, most players want to stay near each other. So the Kraken's job is to split them apart. Otherwise, gameplay becomes very linear. Right? So we came up with some like very dangerous AoE attacks, as well as attacks that become more dangerous if the players are stuck together, such as like multiple projectiles or like fogs that prevent the players from staying in one area at a time. More lore by Swapno. This is our arena development. So we have Kraken head texture. Arena is also here, and we have a nice water shader by Sarah. Unfortunately, I think the arena mesh is not fully imported into our main branch yet, but what it looks like here. Here's some UI demos. This is built off Figma, so it's not in the game yet, but that's like the concept, I guess, of what our UI will look like for the loading screen. And then you can see like the gameplay UI there. We'll probably resize the Kraken HP bar later. But yeah, so you have like player skill icons would go in that area. Programming. Yeah, programming never gets cool pictures to put on their slide. But anyway, we worked a lot on like fixing bugs in multiplayer testing. We also have a very consistent framework now where we can test multiplayer pretty fast. I can probably demo it in a bit as well. Also, we made sure that everything syncs across multiplayer, and the UI is also synced not only with multiplayer but with what the characters are actually doing. We have better architecture behind the scenes as well. Yeah, and particle effects, I think, for some of the actions. Sound people.
Yeah. So we have some basic sound effects for some of the like actions that the boss will take during the course of the fight. Already you can feel just playing them. So kind of like a very water, but also barrel type of, and guy. On the music. Okay. So very big
phase one music.
That's the.
What did phase two or three sound like?
Hold it back in play.
Wait, Emma, do you by any chance have the game of demo multiplayer? Wait, you can pull, it'll work, it'll work. Big screens. Yeah, playing multiplayer is weird. Okay. If I start a game. Oh, the sound is gonna conflict. It's fine. Yeah. Okay. Right, open it twice. But yeah, tell me if it's and I can have the characters. So I'm not playing the super character on that screen. Like, skip down the screen. Yeah, that's like Alright, so for beta, our main goals are to hopefully make this a more interesting game to play. We have a lot of our assets in, as well as like the designs for character abilities and the code for the baseline of the character abilities. But we hopefully want to make the boss attacks more interesting, which is going to take probably a similar amount of work to what we had in alpha. Yeah. What else? Testing, polishing this, hopefully fleshing out the UI so the loading screen looks more like you're legit playing a game and not just a demo. Yeah, I think we have a few animations to wrap us up as well. And then that should. Oh, there's no end slide. Okay, we're done.
Cynthia? Well, no, it was 2 hours. I said 2 hours. And it was probably straight. You don't have to. It's like, you can, it's not like give it a second. What's the code? So you don't fuck with it. Have that shit that brings yourself to it. Play pound. Really thinks it's play pound. I'll be playing the emojis. Okay. That's absolutely. Questions for us?
Okay, so I'm like not sure if the rest of my team is here. I sent a Discord message and maybe they all just like dipped on me. But that's fair because like I can just make this tomorrow. So I totally get it. They all just like left campus the moment their class ended. So for what we've done up to alpha is mainly a lot of like making our game like so it's like making a lot of our games like we had a vague idea, but now we're since it's so environment based and since it's so like story based, we wanted to make sure we had like a really sound idea of what we wanted for our art and how we were gonna make this game progress in like an interesting manner. And we actually just finished that in our last meeting, like how we wanted things to go. So this is character designs for the playable character. I think not recreatable in that setting, the way the line art is. But it's very cute. This was done by Taylor. I sent her a message and was like, can you do this? And then like literally 2 days later, she's like, here you go. And I'm like, okay, that's great. Thank you. So we have been working on, this is courtesy of Helen Rogers. She went out and collected all of these images. And we've been working on building a lot of environments. And we kind of decided, so our story follows the 12 zodiac animals, and it varies from region to region in East Asia, how those stories go. It's not even the same 12 animals, depending on which region of East Asia you're in. So we're following, I believe we're following mostly China's, what they historically, how they historically retell the story of the 12 animals, with some inspiration from, I think, Vietnam and South Korea. Not 100%, but one of the countries, I'm pretty sure, does not celebrate the year of the rabbit. They celebrate the year of the cat instead. So we were like, that'd be an interesting rivalry to have in our game. So here's some more environmental studies. And eventually, I think we might have actually gonna finish this, and I just put it on the slide. But we want to create a cohesive color palette for each of these regions. Of these 6, we decided we'd pull 5. I think the top right is the one we winded up scrapping. We weren't going to create a region on that area. But the rest of them we're pulling colors, and then we're going to modify the colors to make it more like fantasy-esque and not like, like real. It'll look more like the characters. It'll look more like bright and vibrant. And we don't have the notes because we did all the notes on paper. And I'm gonna take pictures of that, but we have notes on how each of these areas were constructed, but it's just like scrawled on actual pieces of paper, like these massive, like surfboard-sized papers. And they're also not in my possession, so I have to go get that from my paper. So, right. I feel like I'm missing some slides. That's good. Okay, we'll just go to gameplay. Our gameplay, we have our map working. This was made, well, at least this version that I recorded was made before we had our character, so that's why it's the white block. So it follows your mouse click, which we decided we would put shaders on, because shaders were important, at this stage of the game, so we threw shaders on all of these images. Because we were like, could we do that? Would that be more interesting than like highlighting it in a color? And I think the answer is yes, because this almost creates like the Chinese like ink wash style you see a lot. So like that wasn't even something we thought about when we were making it, and then we put the shaders on, and we're like, okay, that's the style we're going for. This was also made before we decided we wanted 5 major regions in our game. So it's obviously a map that has a lot of vertical area. And instead of just having these like little like towns and whatnot everywhere and mountains, we're planning to split into 5 regions based on those what do you call them? Not like boards, but like the studies, the environment studies we did. We're gonna have 5 regions, and as you switch regions, you would see the color start shifting, indicating you're switching regions. And there would be 5 major, like almost checkpoints in the game. They're gonna be locations that you cannot avoid going around, whereas like there might be smaller like cabins or towns or like forests that you can or can't go to. But there's 5 points that you have to go to complete the story, and each of those points will probably be really well developed, while everything else is probably just the same, like we use it like the same like town assets like grass or whatever. So we also have it's really funny because
I told them you should just make a colored block that changes colors, and they said I could do you one better, and now placeholder images on like WASD, that'd be great, so then we can like easily implement the actual like spreadsheet. And then they were like, okay, and then they pushed this to the GitHub repository, which is good. I approve of this. I think this is really like, I opened it and I was like, this is fine. If you notice, it's actually on the same scene as the map, which I don't know if that was like a minor communication issue, but this is something that easily can be fixed. I just also thought that was funny because it crossed my mind. I'm like, what if someone like just didn't use a new scene, even though we spent a meeting talking about how we're all using different scenes for all the different sections, but it's okay. As you can see, this is shaders and have the character move. I don't know what slide I lost. But, I think I'm my bad. But basically, some stuff we're working on that like doesn't really fit into any of the rest of it's like because we have this huge like you can have conversations with characters and they actually depending on like your answer from like this point in the game, it will affect your later conversations with the same set character. So we're creating these character profiles only for the 12 zodiac animals, 13 because we're gonna include the cat. Where you can just you basically can choose like form like a rivalry or like friendship. I don't know. Where if you're friends with them, it may benefit you later in the game. If you're rivals with them, it may not benefit you in the game, but it might save time. And this is a race, so you want to save time. So that's something that's happening. Maybe I didn't put it on there. Thought process was it is literally a block of text on a Google Doc. I don't know how I would put that on a slide, but there's that. And then I think that's other than a lot of other like studies we've done. There's no like. There's not too much like physical progress or anything beyond that, which is what we want to do by beta. We want to complete a sprite sheet, which also means we're going to finalize the style because right now we're kind of jumping between a couple. We want to complete one major area because the way we're planning to do it, it'll be easier. Once you complete the first major area, the rest of them will all like, you just go in and change all the assets. We don't have dialogue UI, which is something we wanted by alpha, but that's okay. So we'll just have that early beta, I guess, because that wasn't something we wanted, but it didn't get there. And then we want to create reusable return assets, so like smaller counts or areas. We're just gonna reuse the same assets and maybe just like cube shift it into the right view because you gotta save time. But I think that's all for before the lunar moon. Thank you for listening.
Up next is thanks and events. Ooh.
If you're on our team and you want to come up, you can. All right. You can tell our team is mostly programming. I'm programming. So
No, that's mod.
you can be
That's
here.
mod is programming for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Take over the. Really an alpha idea. We switch slides and each person didn't work on the project. Go through the slides and talk about it.
That's not. Oh, don't look at that. Okay. advanced time traveling tank game. So yeah, we've made a good amount of progress. As a reminder, we are trying to make like a sort of small, polished but complete project, and I think we are on a good pace for that. So for programming, we've got moving and shooting. We've got bullets and mines, different bullets types. Mine maker himself right here. We've got the basic like game state and mechanics of like how to win. You get into this circle in the middle, win by having the most tanks there at the end. We've got like a level building system, kind of just like loading in and out. And we have the ghost mode where we, if you die, you become a ghost and you can't sort of affect things, although it's kind of janky, but we'll hope it, or it's untested. Yeah, here's the tank model.
Yeah, I mean, pretty light on our side, we just have one model, which is a tank. And I guess this is like, sort of going to be the benchmark for the rest of the sound. Sci-fi. Yeah, use this for both, switch the color.
We have a good amount of visual effects going. So we've got, is Jacob here? No, okay. He did bullet trails. We've got like explosions and muzzle flashes going. I've seen the muzzle flash, but it's not in the game. Maybe it pushed or something. It's there. We've got like a little map intro that shows. Yeah. Here's our sound from Michael. This is a demo for what the music will sound like. Yeah, basically that's with a little bit of electronic sounds. I believe he's planning on putting, and then here just tank shoot B1. Yeah. Okay. Here's should I talk about what we're going to do before we do the demo? Yeah. Okay. Here's our plans. So we are going to start doing a lot of playing the game, hopefully, and then polishing how the tank moves. Building maps with play testing. We're gonna have more art and sound assets. We're going to be able to have different types of tanks that you can choose. We want to iron out the jank, and we want to make it juicy. Yeah. Now we have a demo.
Demo has another sound. Just a little long.
I can voice act
Yeah, I can voice act. Thank you.
Let's go. Take some place. It's a remake. It's a remake.
Oh, you're right. Hang on.
Some additional.
That might come out. Although I think no, the drums spitting out is the special. And then what?
Our logo is finished.
Oh, yeah.
I made it in 2 seconds.
Let's go.
Their menu. You can move around your menu. Also, disclaimer before I lose, I can only aim in each direction. We don't have the second controller running yet. So just saying.
Alright, why voice after? It's okay. Let's go like.
Did I get hit already? Dang it. Okay, I got hit. I'm a ghost. So now I'm gonna just like go around and shoot things in the hopes that I can save myself in later rounds. You should run into these bullets. They're ghost bullets. They won't hurt you.
Ooh, maneuvers.
No, it's because I'm a ghost. It's hard to see, but I'm white. I mean. Dave, like shooting people up. Did not work. Plan did not work. So now I'm gonna just go kill this guy. Goodbye. Okay, I got hit. So now I'm a ghost. We might like make the round shorter. Because right now I'm just kind of vibing as a ghost. I can't really do anything. So the reason behind this, in case this isn't clear, is if I save myself in the future, then this tank will be alive, and then I'll be able to win. But right now, I cannot. Okay, how did I die last time? Does anyone remember?
Yeah, in the
Oh shoot!
Like that.
Oh wait. What killed this guy? Oh. That's probably it.
I think it's a skill.
Okay, this is not the best example. Yeah. Yes, you can. That's why, yeah, yes, we can. Well, there's 5 right now. It can be. Oh no, I'm gonna shoot myself. Wait, hold on. Watch this. Watch this. Wait. No, I'm still alive. No. However, now I go crazy.
Let's look at this non-skill issue.
Can you shoot bullets to intercept?
Yes, but right now it's kind of janky. No, that didn't hit me somehow. So I think it's a skill issue, like I said. There's plenty of guys.
But so many takes.
It's remembering all the control or all the actions that you did in the past rounds.
Do you collide with your past self?
Yes, you can push them. You can.
Oh, interesting.
So now I'm coming in from the
Why
top.
don't you just do a tango line?
So if you get pushed slightly, you could just end up being totally useless. for like
Yes.
a while. Okay.
I mean, but if the enemy gets close enough to actually push you, oh man. If the enemy tank gets like close enough to push you, okay, he's gonna win, sadly. But then I mean, I don't know what you're doing at that point. Like, come on. Or they can probably shoot you, you know. So he wins because he had the most tanks in the middle at the end. But yeah, so we have like the basics of the game working. We just want to like polish it, add more mechanics, make it look better. Yeah. I'll get better. I'll practice.
Yep.
I think it's
Oh. Like technology in life and make that box disappear. Just you wait.
Yeah, it's actually not the end of the game. It's funnier about it.
It's a desktop. Literally.
Oh, it's like. Matthew, it's like you can just do the recording.
Yeah.
Alright.
Like, your HDMI. There is a difference between secondary and primary.
Well, the laptop's the one that was up.
Okay, yeah, that's what we have. Like it's not the top, you know, just-
Maybe. Oh. Shutting down.
just quick.
That was really cool. That was like a game.
Oh, yeah, it's a dance. Yeah, I'll do the mouse. Right, sure, right. The keyboard on.
Oh, it's not. Alright. That's a mood. Oh, look at that. That's.
You should go into the taskbar and disable all your startup applications. I can show you how to do that.
Yeah, it's control.
The factory reset your PC.
Okay. We have sound.
It looks like architecture.
Yes, it does. It's all white. Like, well.
Okay. Hey, everybody. We're the Blink team. We have some other team members here today. So, we're just gonna talk about what we've done so far. We're starting out with a demo because we weren't really prepared. We didn't have a slideshow. So we're just gonna show it you. So yeah, let's just. Okay, so I don't know if you guys remember what our name is about, but it's kind of easy to explain sometimes, so I'm just gonna show you. Down. 2 ominous words.
Yeah.
There are objects called quantum objects. They quantum objects. Set back to one of the states. So we do this, we drop the object. I can. Whoa. Okay. So blinking resets the object back to its state, or the same functionality happens if you look away from the object.
Oh my.
So basically, this puzzle is you've got this object on this platform here. Oh. I swear, they won't have a bunch of problems. If this was just like, I don't know, some other game, you'd be like, oh, look, it's worth open. But you can't do that in this game. My mouse is not working. Yeah. Oh, okay.
I have my. Do you want a mouse?
I have a mouse here. So it's really, there's like a lot.
But does it work?
Working.
Okay.
So yeah, if you do this, then you're good. Right?
All right, here's the second. Well, this is work happens. Sit down. Okay, so here's the second puzzle, right? Now the platform's over here. So at first it seems confusing about how you would get to this door. But another thing that you can do in this game is if you're, the main rule is that object can't teleport into your field of vision. So even if you don't have your eye on this object, if you have your eye on the place where it would teleport to, then the object won't. So the door will stay open. Okay. Okay, so. Like the end of the player. Okay. Yeah, you can talk about something. Don't look at this. Yes. How do you do this puzzle? That's kind of hard. Okay. Yeah, so this puzzle is just an expansion on the previous mechanic of things can't teleport into your FOV. So the trick is you have to look at where the object would teleport to. So you get both on the screen. A lot of this kind of stuff.
So blinking is just resetting essentially.
Blinking is basically more. Most of the time it's a convenience to not have to do crazy items the entire time you play the game. So instead of just turning around, you can just, which is going to be helpful for some level. Alex, just talk while I'm doing it. Talk about development. Yes, a big part of the development so far was figuring out a good visibility function. Object is. It's actually really hard. There's like a half second. Do you want to try it? Okay, yeah, you do. Slow G. Okay, so yeah, this is the demo. The first thing we started with is a visibility function for the game to let the player know when the player is looking at an object or looking at a place where an object could teleport to. So we use that by having a bunch of markers, which are mostly invisible, and then the objects will teleport to specific markers. Yeah, so as far as art and design go, a lot of this is not final stuff.
Wait, why didn't that work?
The laser's actually a puzzle that doesn't hurt. Yeah, maybe we can have it hurt. Like in Portal, but with a different mechanic. It's almost like you have the exact way that we're making our game. That's the algorithm. This is the emancipation grill, so you can't walk through with objects in your hand.
The game is just really.
So the door will close. But this red light here, it's not super obvious yet. We're trying to work on some of our visual design language to let the player know exactly what's going on. Right now, it's a lot of it's just mechanical, but we want to make it. The puzzles can get pretty confusing. So. Object is there.
Oh my gosh.
Big crash. Yeah, just imagine that level is done. That's basically the same. Anyways, the red light, that was it's meant to be a locking light, and objects put inside the radius of the light will not be affected. Yeah, so it's kind of nice just to have some objects that aren't always super annoying to move around. And there's the sort of the main steps move. Well, first let's talk about kind of what we've done. A lot of what we've done has been
this like, sort of programming stuff, but we've also worked a lot on the sort of visual design language of the game and the sort of vibe that we're going for. It's sort of, we've talked about sort of having themes of like starting in a more sterile environment, and then as you go on, it gets progressively more natural, like introducing more plants and stuff. You want to show the photos? Oh yeah, do the, yeah, let's see. So yeah, show some of the puzzle stuff. Yeah.
Oh, yes, that was the first mock-up of the puzzle. You better still. Sure. Yes, another cool idea of blocking the amount of links you have would be to create this layer cake kind of what we like to call it, where there's multiple pods layered on top of each other and a kind of physics object that would fall down on top of it. So if you blink away, the physics object will fall down, and once it reaches the bottom, maybe that would prevent you from being able to solve the puzzle. That's one way to block the amount of links you have. It's a pretty neat way that we think people can.
That shows you the concept. Yeah, like shows the this. So this is sort of the idea of some of the ways that we want the game to ultimately end up looking. We kind of want to find a mix between the sort of liminal backrootsy vibe, but also a more like, but less like horror, more or less. So like sort of integrating more of this like what feels like a weird sort of neutral space that you're in, and you just get to solve these cool puzzles. And we do have sort of story in the works. It's a little bit not super fleshed out at this point, but I think the idea is that a lot of this is playing out sort of inside your own head, and that you're like a quantum physicist or something. I don't know exactly yet.
But yeah, and so the idea is very psychological, and one way you want to work that. It's sort of a battle against this physicist's own subconscious in a way. So we wanted to use water and being underwater is a metaphor for that. So that's why we have these caustic effects that are in some of the rooms. And yeah, we also really like the idea of being able to like tease glimpses of kind of a manifestation of your kind of darker subconscious. Yeah, and that would maybe manifest in some sort of final boss encounter at the end.
Yeah. We had the idea of having this sort of dark being that's like shows up only in glimpses throughout the game. And then at the end of the game, you would hear this thing creeping up on you, and you could turn around, and whenever you turn around, it's in like it will stop moving. Almost like a statue that's always trying to follow you, but you can't. But it will never be able to get to you as long as it's kind of like the booze from Mario, except scary. No, okay. So there's some people really want this to go in certain ways, other ways in the team. So you're right though, that I think that there's multiple directions we can head with the game. I mean, honestly, the main idea when we had the idea for this game, there wasn't story. So, and there was a lot of visual design language wasn't totally fleshed out. It still kind of isn't. But the base mechanics of the game are more or less fleshed out. So yeah, our from moving forward from this point, we're kind of trying to come up with more puzzle ideas, which is really hard because it's kind of hard to come up with puzzles that are not like one step, extremely trivial puzzles, and also not like ridiculously impossible problems to solve. So a lot of level development and just general polishing from this point on, I think it's the main. But yeah, anything else we can do together?
We'll also be introducing one other mechanic, which is mirrors, that will kind of open a whole new dimension with regards to line of sight visibility.
Game RTX enabled.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay, sweet. Well, anyway, that's it. Thanks, man. That's funny.
Wait a minute. Very Whose PC is this?
I'd be so embarrassed.
20 pop-ups. Yeah. That's why they can't use it. That's why, Alex, is that why?
I know, I didn't mention
It really
it was
okay,
really hard
your
to
PC just shuts down every time. This breaks. Oh, no.
That's not the perfect game for jump scares.
Yeah, honestly.
Wink and then just jump.
What's the horror short film movie we played today? Where there's this like. turn, like.
Oh.
Cozy forest.
No, yeah. I think a lot of us.
You guys should do a thing if there's like a strong light that activates things like or something.
No, we had that idea for like for rooms to turn the lights on and off.
There's like a time after.
I could do the door and then I.
This is material. Oh, it's not.
We come back and like.
Even if it's like. What? Other people, why do you sound like?
At least give it a
Computer, a billion pop-ups.
It's because he keeps it running. Yeah. Every day.
Oh my God.
I always like open up computer at like 1 a.m. That's like.
PC lifespan just.
Nah, that's a myth. That's a myth.
Really?
I don't know. Not like
No graphics are.
it's like a song. Yeah, that guy's 5. He's at like 49. 49. Like the 49 is the size.
Yeah.
Count that dropouts. Like 49 is. You have to have like 6. I think it's definitely like.
Did you guys change the settings on?
We only changed the volume.
Yeah, maybe try changing the volume.
It took a second for it to turn on.
Yeah.
Pretty flat.
Oh.
He is right.
Okay, this is the short. And I like what it is.
If you ever go on it, I don't know. Everyone does that. I need to know.
That's a good series. And so this semester we do lots of optimization in the UI and also on the back end because it was input source from everywhere and it was very confusing. So we made central weapon control to control all of the weapons by the desk script and also a master for all of the keys. So here is the video. So here, we shrunk the UI. It was once right here, it blocked a lot of the view, so we shrunk it down. And also this transparent, so you can see more. And there are descriptions for each of the weapons right here. It shrinks and cuts, so you can have a more detailed description of knowing what each weapon is. Also, we try to make an algae on the
Right now, the E's are very rigid, so it's like dry ramen that's free. But we will optimize. So we use the particle system to make these. Square textures. Also, we try to make implement our 3D map in the galaxy. So this game is actually a combination of different planets. And this planet is just a small moon of a large gas giant. You will see later in this clip. So once we click M, it pops up this map. This is our planet. This is the moon of this universe. And later on, we can be able to do this small. We're also trying to make a lot more 3D assets this semester, especially for the floating city. We're trying to construct a base for the city and a place for the ship to dock. The 3D modeling consists of satellite base, also consists of reference of local. We also try to redesign some of the characters. Then we'll start to color and render, because we were also those were doing the floating city. We wanted to make some docking music that's more lighthearted and cheerful rather than the lonesome and melancholic music of the 60s. This is the music made by Zach. Moving forward, for beta, is we'll finish up with the algae plantation scene, and also make sure that the map is functionally working for moving to places and changing, spawning different buildings and locations, randomize weather changes, and finish up with the floating city construction. That's it. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, I had this idea that you can see it, like in order to go wide, so you have to walk. This is wrong. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, totally. There's so much opportunity. I don't know. That's definitely, we'll definitely use that. That's a good idea.
Yes. All right, so this is our presentation for atmosphere. Okay, so we're gonna get started with create some concept art. We have concept art for vehicles right now, and in the middle we have the concept art for the main character, and then on the sides we have other characters that we might have later, especially in the conversion when the main character is gonna fight the boss. And then here's some concept art for the background. It's gonna be the same setting. However, there's gonna be a morning, afternoon, and evening mode. And we actually have the concept art plan. We have the art finalized for the background. We have the day plan, which will then go into the afternoon. And then fade into nighttime. So I think it looks pretty good right now. All right, and then we also have concept art for tokens, which will be part of the first part of the game. And then, yeah, sure. So this is kind of like our general story. So we have like our spirit that creates the part of the shrine. It's like, oh, a ghost, like something must have happened. And then see that the shrine is for the god of knowledge. So then they want to ask the god like what happened to everything. And so the spirit will collect offerings from we have like the other characters that come in, which builds up the shrine slowly, which is difficult. And then we'll have like it slowly become more and more bright across. And then here's some gameplay functions. Kind of like very basic stuff because we don't have the sprite for our main character yet. Yeah, so right now we just drag and drop them and they'll snap to a specific place. It's like giving the token our spirit from, from like all the characters that come in. Alright, and then the next one we have is the next one is when we have visitors come to the shrine. Right now we don't have a sprite, so right now it's just a white triangle. But basically they'll stop at the shrine and then they'll leave after they receive something. Right now we just automated it. And that's the visitor. Alright. And then like once we connect those two together, we'll basically have the daytime function pretty much implemented. And then the nighttime function will we have games involved. So like we have like a little tap game that we want to implement. We'll come up with like some more storylines also with like each character that comes in, have some dialogue and stuff. Having more spirits to be more interactive. We want to add music. And then if we have time, we want to have a tutorial mode to kind of let people know how to play. So kind of like an island game. Yeah.
Alright. Yeah. We're gonna serve. Your Chungus. Chungus.
How is it packing a computer inside?
You didn't build it? It's rough.
How is it like?
You wanna see it?
Open it up.
It's pretty good actually. Because it's filled.
There is no cable mat.
Yeah.
The cable mat is.
Cable management is outside, okay. It's just a pain in the ass. Did you actually make I don't think ever inside this. Yeah. Because I'm a freak. Because these games are like boards.
Like bring your own mouse.
Come on, know this guy.
Lighthouse has a naked remains.
No,
Yeah, it's kind of the highlight of the movie.
No, the highlight is the whole time. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. One of the worst.
I need to like that's I don't know like it's like yeah, like that's it. It's all it's
I watched. When I had COVID fever, now I worse. It was so bad.
Is it?
You guys are muted.
No, you finished it.
Yeah. You play gunner.
Oh, this is such a like a.
What? You play gunner?
No.
Scout? I'll play all of them. Focus. Okay.
All right. So, still fun. Okay. That'll be one. Yeah, so we've done a lot over the last month or so. It's been a really, really busy month. We kind of ended up throwing out most of what we had from last semester. And we needed to actually network everything, and network everything requires a pretty low level overhaul. Some of the item stuff is still there, but you know, we'll go here. So there's some boring stuff to go over, just some interesting, if you're interested in it, most people don't like that. I don't know, I have this. So this is just our general goal for Alpha. We wanted to really like nail out all the core systems. We really want the rest of the semester to be focusing on building our content. So we wanted to, crush through all the core systems before we start thinking about moving. So we wanted to do network animations and actions. We really want a good pipeline to be able to go from animations to something, and have that be networked. We want like kind of a generic system where we can take like an action, which could be an item or a gun or anything, and just put the animations in and have that be networked. And inventory management, world generation, spawning and enemies and pathfinding, be able to put on armor slots that are visible on your character that other people can see, be able to put upgrades on your weapon with weapon slots, and be able to have special damage status effects. We wanted to do a system kind of like Dark Souls, where like you can kind of do a certain amount of like fire damage, and then it will block, and it will make that enemy like on fire or something like that, or like bleed or stuff like that. So we have that system working, and then emotes, just because emotes are good. And then other stuff was just sort of more content side of things. We really nailed down the aesthetic. We ended up modeling a lot of things, kind of just like a higher like standard for visual quality for things. And lighting moved over to HDRP, and the HDRP, which kind of out of the box make it look a little bit more like how Unreal looks by default. Just some sort of better lighting effects. Cost performance, but it was ended up being worth it. So just some about networking. It is very hard. This is kind of just like a new piece of what I do. I can talk on networking, but basically, you kind of have to balance these three things, which is security, safety, and latency kind of all are in tension with each other, because you want the game to be secure. You don't want to trust the game client with everything. You want to trust the game client as little as possible. If you trust the game client with nothing, then the player basically has to wait for their action to come back to the server. So you lose latency if you do that. But if you simulate, basically the solution to that is to simulate the game on the client and simulate the game on the server in parallel. But then you have safety issues because the state can get out of sync. Right, so you kind of have to balance these three things. So sort of what we ended up doing, and this gets really complicated for things like the inventory system, which we have, which is like all these tiles and moving between tiles and drop items and attach items to each other. So it has to be synchronized across the network, so it gets complicated.
Did you build your own networking backend?
No. I mean, I don't know what you mean by backend, but we use
Like not like a photon or whatever.
no, we use these basically NO API, mid-level API. We just work on that. Basically, what we ended up doing is simulate both on the client and the server, so you get no latency. Then process it server side, and then send anything back if you need to. And then have some sort of verification to make sure the states agree, or check if the states don't agree. And if they don't agree, basically just reset the whole state. That's kind of been our general strategy. And we are a real deal MMO. So basically, what we're doing, and this is sort of our higher level backend. We got sort of a stack going now because we've got a node server going on. We've got interactions with the Steam backend and then the game itself. So it's sort of like an application stack. Basically, what we do is we issue Steam tokens of Steam. We send it to our backend. We then verify that Steam token. They basically authenticate your Steam account without you having to do anything. And so then basically we can store player information. And quick note, if you like DevOps stuff, we actually our API adheres to Open API, which means we basically can get a free like generated C# client. We don't have to learn C# client. Is what it is. And we also integrate with Amazon Game Lifts. This is not working right now because the loop to test Amazon Game Lift takes like an hour. So if something breaks, I have to like basically start over from scratch. So we're not working on that. It's kind of a more long-term goal, but there is some integration with Amazon Game Lift to spawn game servers. Let's see. Yes, I do. So okay, so this is kind of what saved us a little bit. because we were really thinking hard about how do we network all these different actions of like arbitrary network. And we kind of figured out that we can actually boil every single item down to one state machine, which is basically you have an idle state, you have like a reload state, you have a use state, and you have an inspect and reload state, which is sort of extra. And then basically every item in the game is just somewhere in that state or some subset of those states. So like guns obviously have a reload, but like a syringe will have a reload, just have a use. And then for guns, fire is the use state. And then we have inspect animations and everything else that we can layer over that. So basically doing this lets us use animated override controllers. So we basically can just generate the animations and then just plaster them over this state machine. We don't have to remake the state machine every time. So it makes it a really, really nice pipeline to go from item to game. And that saved us like countless hours. So here's some fun videos. We basically overhauled our rig. Well, our rig was terrible. It was made by me, which was terrible. We found a pro one from online that was being given away for free for both the external and internal animation, or external and view model animations. Because you have to have one system for what you actually see in camera, and another system for what you see on other players. Right, so those are two different rigs. But I can show you what they actually look like now. So here's a rifle. Maybe got mobile flashes. And you can see the camera actually move with the animation. And these are inspects. And sounds from the blade level. And so that's inspect and then reload. Syringe. The same sound.
You made all those sounds?
Yeah. We have a slide. And then this is the external animations. This is what it looks like from the outside. That's the inventory animation.
Yes, he is.
Yes, those are hats. Yeah. So he's got the syringe out. And then he can give the thumbs up, there's the emotes, get back in his inventory, he can drop items, he can pull out guns, and the muzzle flash is synced, and the reloads are synced. And yep. And there goes the pistol. So it's really just generic system kind of made it very, like a grenade only took like 10 minutes to get it. Just once we have the animation, it just flashed it on the But I think we got this one. It's really hard to see. Oh, you took up his hat there. And then jumping. All right, we'll do the live demo. You can see more of that stuff. Oh, yeah, I dropped myself in. So here's emote. So this is pretty cool. Basically, we use what's called avatar mask. So basically, we can mask out the animations between the two arms. So we sort of have two different controllers for each arm. So we have emotes which are sort of only on the left hand. So that way, no matter what item you're holding in the right hand, if you do the emote, it basically takes the hand off the whatever you're holding in the right hand, and then plays the emote, and sort of blends it back. And that works both internally and externally. So I'm pretty sure in my animator made that. But any item this works for, because the idle animation with that all right here.
Is it gonna be Escape from Tarkov style, like commentary when they're gonna be doing emotes?
Perhaps we might do that.
Yeah.
Here's what it looks like from external. Okay, that was kind of blocked by his hand. He does it again. You'll see how the left hand kind of comes off the gun and then yeah, there you go. And then it goes back on the gun. So that's just blending that in and out. So yeah, so that's really fun. That works very nicely in game because you can get thumbs up to each other. It works good. All right, so that's kind of some of the basic stuff out of the way. Now we can go to some more high level things, which is kind of more interesting stuff. And there's Jason to take it away.
Yeah, so basically I spent pretty much previous weeks doing the levels, and basically the way our game works is that the player drop down underneath, and there's kind of the main hub where it's like always the first level the player will encounter, and then after they finish that, they can spread out two other like toggle levels, which is pretty cool. And then basically I like the main hub is kind of, I have this two forward things because we want the main hub to be really like have a lot of verticality and also it's kind of centralized. So you have these doors that after the player complete the mission, they can spread out to another room, which will be talked more about in later. And then also you can see that add lots of like industrial asset elements to it just to make it more like steel pump. And then I think what was really interesting is I kind of added like this kind of statue here, which I think will be really interesting because it's like a tree, but you know we're like steel pump, we're like doing industrial stuff. So I think it will be really interesting to have this kind of conflict and exactly like you have like pipes acting like roots that's feeding the tree. And I think this is more like making the game, making the environment more lively, more interesting, and then instead of like all kind of boring industrial levels, I think adding these kind of elements would really help to grab the player attention. But also, so I can show you another, like this is the kind of toggle roof level we're working on. We're still doing we're still working on the walkway, like how to design. This is kind of the current design, but it's still up to change because we're thinking to kind of increase the scale of our rooms so that the enemies can actually spawn on top levels, and then also it kind of invites the player to interact more with the thing. So I think these are stuff that we're kind of currently working on, but basically we have these. Basically, the way that we make the levels is that we have these assets, and then which I made them, and then we can just like play them around and make new arrangements, which can be pretty efficient when you like create new levels and stuff. Yeah. Although I think it would be more interesting to have more interior spaces because right now our room since our room gets larger, it's I think it will be more interesting if the player goes inside somewhere. Like I know it's a bit hard to see, but you see here it's like a separate room above floating. So the player actually goes inside and then outside. I think this will be more it's more dynamic in terms of like the interaction with the environments and stuff. Yeah, that's basically it.
Yeah, so overall, we're going more in this direction of like, because the world is sort of AI generated, there's a lot more we can do. We want to sort of integrate more like, it's made out of steel, it's made out of industry, but there's these shapes that are sort of recognizable from human life. It's sort of copying the earth. It sort of took the earth and copied it. So these sort of like plant life, sort of copying elements from ecology and maybe putting like castles and just other sort of interesting shapes is how we want to go with this. So the core system is now there, like we have the level generation, which we'll talk about in a second, and these components, so we can really move very quickly now to build out these levels. The way of sound.
What I want to talk about here. There's been a big change. I'm no longer doing music because that was like in the process of writing an album, which is like 12 other tracks. Plus I had to write the music for this, and then I was trying to do sound design. And by the end of it, I was spending like an hour a day, like alternating between music and sound design. It's not as fun, but that's cool because now I can spend more time on sound design, which is pretty cool. So essentially, I made a 4-step design process for every sound we have in the game. Essentially, I want to first like plan so that we can be mindful of what we're trying to achieve with every sound. So I'm asking myself, what are the materials of the object we're trying to design? What is the animation like? Like, what's the power level of the object? Should it feel like super overpowered, or should it feel like a starter pistol kind of thing? And then the next question I'm asking myself is like, okay, so how can we not cut corners, but how can we work more efficiently in later stages, right? So that's asking, how can we record and gather materials to make the design process faster? How are we going to implement this? So the second stage is recording material gathering. So, if you start with great material, it's really easy to design. We got the chance actually to record in the Oaxaca's recording studio. I know somebody there in CFA. We had like this really expensive ORTF mic. We were doing all kinds of like footstep foley. It was awesome. And we we also just record like other Foley sounds with just a Zoom H6. If you're an ID8 student, you can get that for free. I really recommend recording your own sounds because it's another way to kind of inject a little bit of yourself into what it sounds like. In the audio world, people can pretty easily identify like what pack you're using. It's actually pretty incredible. So recording your sounds is great. The design process, yeah. So the next step is designing. So it's all about the layers always. And also like a little extra detail, which I still have to get to, is like accounting for what happens off screen. It's really important. So like when a mag is released and dropped on the ground, like having a sound to represent that. The shells are hitting the ground. That's important as well. Here's a little video I captured of Ableton, which is just like, I think this is the inspect sound for the AK-104. So this is kind of what my process looks like. So I'm in the actual process of designing and looking at the animation. This is the first layer. We recorded this. This is my assistant Vlad, just like ruffling his pants or whatever. You cut it up in different ways to match the pacing of the animation. And then you put everything together. Yeah.
How many tracks is that for that one?
It's only 4. It's not that complicated. It's gonna be, by the end of it, there's gonna be some sounds where I feel like I'm gonna go like 10 as well. And then implementation stuff. Yeah, this is not.
We're using F1 for everything, so.
Yeah.
This is a little bit of what the current motion is. We added sprinting, and along with that, we also added foot sound effects. So this is just to show that off.
Stop away.
Here's the footsteps. The way we have separate sounds for that. So okay, it's a little quiet, but
Thanks to your, oh gosh.
Yeah, by the way, I should say any sound that's not a gun sound, we record. So obviously I don't have the means to record gun sounds. Unfortunately,
it's subtle, but you can hear it a little bit. Basically, we just have 2 different sounds. And then they're based on when the animations actually hit the ground. So it's basically just controllers on the foot. So basically, the foot measures how close it is to the ground, and then it basically every time it hits the ground, like. Then we just use layers to basically do the walkway layers. And do this. This is my personal favorite from everything we did this month. This was so insanely hard to do, but it's the inventory system. So basically, I'll just show it to you. You can take your clothes on and off. We've got a little preview of your character there. And there's weapons, have weapon slots as well. So we just put a flame damage upgrade on the gun. And you can see on the right your actual active slots are reflecting what's on the bottom there. You can drop items out into the world. You have this little model. And that spawns in the world, so you can throw items on the player. And then we have essential show the open doors. Unnecessary shooting at the end. But yeah, so just a little bit about how we did this. So like basically we wanted this to be as easy as possible to get new items in the game. So everything is built on scriptable objects. So what we've done for like all the clothing items and the weapon upgrades is they're basically just abstract scriptable objects. So we can just override like the on-equip function or the plot modify damage function and basically do all sorts of interesting things. Like right now we have a chest plate which reduces damage by 5%. And we just have like a little script that's like a flat damage reduction script. We can change what percent it reduces the damage by. So it's just a really straightforward system that makes it easy for the designers. This is pretty cool. So this is our new lobby system. This made it really, really easy to actually play test. We've done a bunch of play tests over the last couple of weeks. I can just show you what this looks like. Basically, I just invite people to the Steam overlay. They can connect to the Steam overlay, and then I can start on local. So that was, you may have missed it there. That was my friend joining in. You can see he sort of spawns in the seat there, but he sits down, and then there's a slot for each player. And so you can see that, and then when I start local, I'll show you the intro cutscene that we made. But there's 2 perspectives that you go see. I cut between them, but there's basically the perspective of the pilot and the perspective of the back. So you actually spawn where you're sitting in the plane. And then this is just what it looks like with all 4 people in the lobby. So yeah, this is just test data, but this is just what it looks like with all 4 people in there. We just have different slots and information. Yeah, so that is that, and now I'll pass it off to Josh. Let me just get you back to slideshow mode here.
So, yeah, so levels in Steelpunk, you like go down underneath the surface, and then there's a series of rooms that come out laterally, and then eventually you're gonna have those rooms go down to a different levels. So, making that work becomes a bit of a complicated process. Originally, it was all, each room spawned its doors and then the rooms adjacent to it, and each room handled its own flow, and like, well, originally it was all handled by one global game manager, and then we split it up into the different rooms so that different rooms can be going at the same time, because it's multiplayer, the players can now split up and go into different rooms. But this is a system that I wrote this week that creates all of the rooms like on a week, like when the game starts, before anything happens, so that we can put in a start room, put in an end room, make sure we put in whatever we want. And I really like this. So this is just a test, just a completely separate scene that that just demonstrates how it works in like a 2D environment. So and it's like just put out on a timer, so you can see that this is like how the rooms, how the whole map is created, right? So what it does is it finds, you can kind of see these like little red squares. These are the doors that each room has. It picks a random free door that doesn't have a room on the other side of it. And then it picks a random room configuration, one of these like the 1 or the 1x3 or the 1x2 or the L shape. And spawns it there and then calculates like its position. It also uses like a very abstract 2D tile grid map to do all this, and then takes those coordinates once it has it all figured out, transforms it into world space, and spawns it in the actual level. You can't actually see it spawn in the actual level because like, you know, you're in first person. Yeah, the rooms and the doors like handle their own states. You'll see that in the test, how they like open and close. It's cool. I have another, here's another video that like, that first one actually like crashed Unity because it actually created a scenario where there weren't any free doors. This one goes out until it hits like the limit that I said, which is 60 days. And then on the other side here, this is one of those scriptable objects. I think we'll get more stuff about it later. This is the configuration. This is just for one of these rooms. It's for one of the L rooms. The PL stands for top left of the spaces. You can see it has 3 tiles, one at its center, the one to the left, one at the top. Yeah. Here's where we need to go. Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah. All right.
Okay, my turn. I won't talk for very long, unlike these guys. I mean, a lot of what I've already said. I basically, I don't really have a 4-step process. I just see what I like to apply and how can we apply here. So first, we kind of scrapped everything we did before, which wasn't my decision. That was his decision. Perfectly okay before we did it again. And then he came up with a different idea, and I said, why don't we should scrap that one too? So originally we were gonna have you drop through like just room to room, like directly underneath. I said no, fuck that. Well, let's just, why not we have them move out laterally and also just down level. So just the gameplay loop is longer and it just feels much more just feels better. Exploration is fun. I also did take that from Binding of Isaac. And just general roguelike stuff. You got special rooms where you kill things. We're gonna come up with other rooms where you, I don't know, kill bigger things, and pick up items, stuff like that. Like, it's just, now that we have a system where you like drop in a level which has the maze that you talked about, and where you have to find the room to go down to a level deeper so you get to the bottom floor, kill the big boss or something. This all is within the big tile, which we'll call it, which is like within the entire world. There's many tiles. Tiles named on, like you see in the intro cutscene. For right now, we're just working with one tile. That's a way down the line type of thing. But it's, I mean, it's only a tiny, it's a heaping table too. Oh, never mind. That's my bad. Anyway, that's the big, large concepts of just a level workout of the general gameplay loops. We used to have class-based system, but we did that for like a half a month, and then we said fuck that too. Honestly, one of the best decisions ever made. Because I would have gone down that rabbit hole forever. Like he would have lost. This is just the stuff I usually like to do. Let's just read it. Like, it's what do I really have to say? We have guns. We have enemies that I've created. There's gonna be upgrades that we're gonna come up with, some funny rooms there and here and there. There's gonna be this funny there's gonna be like a giant castle, just a medieval castle in the middle of nowhere, because it fits our lore, right? So why not? It's just fun.
How long is a given match?
However you.
Right now it's 30 minutes, but we're probably gonna make it a lot longer.
Like, you can stay down there for hours.
We might make it so you can stay down there like that.
What's like the final goal of like a drop-in? Like
What?
you drop in with the boys, right? Like what's the
Okay,
main?
so it's sort of like Tarkov, if you play that. It's basically you get items while you're in there, and if you leave with those items, you keep them in your stash, and you can leave them in your stash and then come back in. So there's that mechanic, so just collecting stuff for the economy, because we'll be able to sell items and stuff. But there will also be quests that you'll get. So you have like a specific goal. It's like kill this certain number of specific enemies, or find this particular thing in this particular area. And they'll just have like a radar thing, and you just have to go find it. So that's the kind of idea.
And if you die, you lose everything.
Yes. If you die, everything you got to
Don't die.
Yeah. So this is just a little piece. I'm just going to talk about this quickly. Just basically just making me and Steve not try to kill each other. We basically have everything in data spreadsheets so that we don't have to argue over code or anything like that. It's just all in scriptable objects. So if he wanted to, I don't think you could.
No.
But if you wanted to, you could just go in and just. All right. So this is the last bit, which is just an actual piece of gameplay. So the main fitting part. This is what the game actually looks like. We have ragdolls now. You can see enemies dying. They spawn in groups.
Game is too easy right now.
I don't know. Have you played this?
Yeah.
It's a lot easier with 4 people. So there's a little bit of looting to that chest over that. And yeah, there's a bunch of different enemies right now. We've gone on long enough. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but we've got a gunner, we've got a sniper, we've got a high enemy that just bombs me, and I got a yeah. And then we kill all the enemies, and then that door becomes green. You basically can just open up the door, then you have another room. And then basically the cycle begins anew.
And each room can have different sizes, different layouts, different objectives.
We want to experiment with like really, really big rooms, like rooms that are like you can't even see the ceiling on. Just have like there's a bunch of different interesting stuff.
L-shaped room.
L-shaped rooms.
We're gonna have a room where we play Dancing for Revolution.
So yeah, so for beta, basically just content. I have a bad habit of building out systems. I keep building systems, I keep building more systems. These kind of flashing this time. So we're gonna say no more systems. We finish the systems. We're just focusing on content for and yeah, that's basically it. We want to finish up the extraction flow. That still isn't 100%, but it is the code is there. Just fire it up. But yeah, and we definitely need a map. Mainly just content. All right. And we may do a public Steam demo. We have a Steam, it's all wired through Steam, so we may make this page public and have like a demo on there so other people can play and test it. What reason not to do that? So- Yeah.
That's the limits. You can bug test the game, right? So all of us play at the same time, we'll find all.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's all right.
Alright. Thank you guys for coming. That's all of the games for tonight. And oh yeah, we're still considering game night or gallery crawl. I don't know. What are you guys' preference on that? Like is in.
It doesn't matter who.
If we have like 20 people, we can't.
What's the show?
Sorry, 5 months.
You have the money.
Yeah. Yeah, so stick around if you're interested in game night or whatever. Alright, my phone's almost dead.